Good evening, parents of your high school. I'm getting a little bit of a... One moment. All righty. Let's try this again. All right, good evening, Pooter parents, and welcome to our Back to School Night 2021. Even though that this event is different this year, we want you to know that the purpose is still the same. We care about your kids. We want you to be able to meet their teachers, and we want you to have a better understanding of their classes and the resources available here at Pooter High School. So to get us started, like I said, our number one thing that we want to communicate to you is that we care about your kid. And even though school looks different with masks and COVID protocols, our purpose is still the same. And that's to provide every student with a safe, rich high school experience where each student learns more about themselves and they are graduating with options. So following this introduction, you will have the opportunity to learn more about your child's classrooms and their teachers. And your teachers have created some of their videos for you to get a better understanding of the class. So I want to walk you through the format a little bit. What you're going to do is, let's see here. You are going to go onto our Pooter High School website, and right on that front home page, it says Virtual Back to School Night. If you drop down a little bit to the news section, you will see something that says Visit Teacher Learning Pages and watch their welcome videos by visiting the staff directory page. Just click on that staff directory page. It'll take you to a page of all of our staff members, and then you can click on your students' teachers. You can follow their schedule and see what classes they're teaching and listen and watch their videos. If your student is an IB, you can also visit the IB website. It'll have our 2021 updates. And it will also be a good time for you to visit our pathways. And so on that home screen on our website, what you'll see are some icons for each one of our pathways. If you don't know which pathway your student is in, go ahead and ask them. They should know. And what you'll do is you'll click on one of those icons, and that'll take you to a page that's devoted specifically to that pathway. And that can help you understand what some of those courses are that are available within that pathway, some of the student clubs and activities that are available through that pathway, and just a lot about what's going on in terms of course sequencing and certifications, college credit, lots of stuff for your four-year journey. There is also a pathway video that explains more about that, and then additionally a pathway guide. And so if you take a look at that pathway guide, it gives you a good four-year kind of at a glance and shows you all the different courses that your students can take that provide opportunities for college coursework and earning college credits, certifications, etc. So those are two really great resources that we want you to be able to access tonight and forever since they're on our website. Now, the second thing we want you to leave with tonight is knowing that we want your student to have as normal of a high school experience as possible. And so with that, I'm going to introduce our activities director, Kendall Wilson, to tell you more about that.
Hi, Pooter. How are you? It's great to see you. First of all, thank you for all the incredible support you give our students. We can tell because they're awesome. So thank you. So like Principal Mackay stated, we want our students to have as normal of a high school experience as possible. And here's what we're doing. Matt, can you put it on the slide? I will put it on the slide. Here's how we're doing it. So before we could get back to normal, we had to reconnect. after being at home for so long. So we kicked off the school year by spending our first day of school making connections as a Pooter community before we even touched academics. We wanted our students to leave school having a positive first day and be excited about returning to in-person learning. Each day, we open the courtyard and recess is in session. We have cornhole boards, soccer, volleyball, spike ball, frisbee, and more. Every day at lunch, we bring out the Gaga ball pit, and tons of students jump in and participate. Often, your students return to third period sweaty and excited about their experience at lunch. So, connecting to extracurriculars. Club Rush is an event that we host each fall. And at this event, it provides students an opportunity to learn about all the different clubs offered here at Pooter. There are school-sponsored clubs that exist every year. And then there are student-initiated clubs that students create every fall. All of this information and more is all on our Pooter's website under our activities. This year, we are hosting Club Rush on Tuesday, September 14th. Your student will receive this information through school email. We'll post it on social media so that they have the opportunity to see it at least once. And as well as it'll be aired on PHS News every week. So this year, homecoming is September 13th through the 18th, and Pooter's celebrating its 57th homecoming. We are proud and excited about the events that we have planned for our students. This year's theme is Galaxy, because Pooter is out of this world. On Monday, we're going to have movie night in the courtyard. Tuesday, Crash It Tuesday, we're going to have a car in the front of the school, and students are going to smash it, all safe and supervised. Simultaneously, Club Rush is going to be going on outside, so there will be a fair. And if students, the more clubs that they visit and engage with, that gets them a free swing at the car smash. On Wednesday, we're inviting your Impalas to come in during late start, and they can grab a blue t-shirt and they can decorate and create their own Pooter t-shirt. Thursday is Powder Puff game, and that is girls football game. It's juniors versus seniors, and we play that up on the field under the lights. And then this is where it gets really cool, is after that followed with a school bonfire. We have our students bring in a pile of wood about the size of the room you're sitting in right now, and the fire department supervises it, and the blaze is amazing. So that's Thursday. Then finally that takes us to Friday, and our Impalas will be playing the Fort Collins Lambkins at French Field at 7 o'clock. And then Saturday we will end homecoming week with the homecoming dance. And just like we hosted prom this past May, it'll be out front of the school with lights and games and prizes and a lot of awesome stuff. So we're really looking forward to celebrating all these things with your students. So again, thank you for your support. I'm now going to hand it over to Carrie Christensen, our athletic director.
All righty, good evening, Pooter. And what would a school year be without athletics? We are so excited this year. This will be the first time in over a year where we get to have a student section. So please encourage your student to come out to all of our games and support our athletes. This year as well, there's not going to be any limit to the number of tickets for families to come to our games. So again, the more the merrier. Bring your family, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, aunts, uncles, neighbors to the game. We're really looking forward to packing those stands. Another new thing for us this year, I don't know if anybody's been by French Field, we got a brand new digital scoreboard. And by that, I mean, think CSU, think the Denver Broncos or the Green Bay Packers, if you're a Packers fan, like me. But the scoreboard is really amazing, and it's really going to showcase our athletes that are playing out at French Field. Also, something new that we did a little bit last year, but we're going to do more of this year, is that we are going to host our soccer games and our lower level football games here at Pooter High School on our brand new turf. So again, we're really excited to getting back to what happened the previous year of really engaging our students and encouraging our students to be part of the high school experience. So we look forward to seeing you out at all of our games this year. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Matt Miltenberg with counseling.
Hi everybody, I am Matt Miltenberg, one of the counselors here at Pooter, and was asked to just come on because as much as we want this to be a normal year, we do recognize that for a lot of our students, things have not been normal for a while, and there's been some students struggling, and we wanted to talk through what we're seeing, how we're supporting kids, and how you can help at home. The first thing is just want you to know that as we welcome our kids back, we recognize that it's been hard, and we are continuing to emphasize a lot of grace as our students come back to in-person learning, and with a focus on helping them develop resiliency. So kids are crazy resilient, and I like to think that while nothing good has come of COVID, the resiliency they're going to develop after these struggles is going to be what allows them to do really amazing things after they leave Pooter. I do want you to know if your student is struggling, we are seeing that, and it is pretty normal. A lot of students are struggling right now. We're seeing depression and anxiety, some, and just general difficulties as well. And if you think about the last 18 months, this makes total sense, right? COVID has been really isolating for students, giving them a lot of stress and uncertainty. It's been everywhere. They couldn't escape it, but they didn't have any control over it. And it's not really clear when the end will come. And so we really want to emphasize this year for our kids, trying to counteract that by building tons of connection and consistency for them, making school really personal, and giving them some control and autonomy back in their lives. We know how important and vital that is for our kids. As they've kind of been going through this challenge, sometimes it's helpful to think about just what has been going on in their heads. And we talk with kids sort of about the two different systems that are sort of operating in their brain. One being this limbic system or lizard brain, that's kind of this older part of the brain that is, operating on survival and sensation seeking. It's impulsive. It responds to urges and feelings, sometimes without thinking. This might sound like some of our students some days. And then on the other side of things, we've got the prefrontal cortex, right? So this newer, awesome part of our brain that can do all the advanced thinking and planning and creating and collaborating that kids need to be able to do school. And teenage years normally are a lot about struggling to find the balance between these two systems, and we know it's been especially difficult for students after the last year. So we as a building are going to be focused a lot on trying to help students sort of relearn these skills and to tap into that awesome part of their brain. One of the ways that we're doing this, like we've been kind of saying all night, is really focusing on connection. At Pooter, one of the biggest ways that we build connection, in addition to the sports and clubs that you heard about, is through our pathways. So our pathways are our way of making a smaller learning community for our students, getting them in touch with and connected to their interests in the classroom, but also helping them by getting them connected and spending a lot of time with like-minded peers and a team of teachers that are meeting regularly to keep track of how they're doing and talk about what they need. And as Ms. Wilson also commented, this year we know students have been sitting behind screens by themselves for a long time. And so we've been having an awesome time getting them active and giving them chances to connect with each other in new ways. And I think that's been a ton of fun. Definitely encourage your students to get involved. I would love for somebody to come challenge me in spike ball anytime during lunch. And how can you help at home? It's pretty much going back to the basics. first and foremost, just finding time to listen and connect to your student, and find out, what's going on in their world in a non-judgmental way. Really simple question that you can ask is just, hey, what do you need and how can I help? And if they are resistant, you be persistent. Just keep being there and asking them and know that you're there for them. You can also help follow along. Like I said, they're kind of struggling right now with some of those skills to manage their schoolwork and classwork. So you can follow along with what they're studying by getting invited to their Google Classroom, and you can follow along with how they're doing by checking into ParentView. If you have difficulty accessing ParentView, there's a website here, techportal.psdschools.org/application/ParentView. It's a great overview, not only with how to get access, but all the different ways that you can use ParentView. But honestly, the best thing that you could do would be to have your students sit down with you once a week and just have them explain to you how they're doing in their classes. And really, by doing that, you're going to help them develop those skills that they're going to need to manage that for themselves independently soon. You can also keep up with what we're doing through the Pooter Power Up. We know everybody's been super bombarded by emails over the last year, so we're trying to consolidate and share information through this weekly resource. If you are not getting this in your email, please let us know, because it's a great way to keep up with what's going on and encourage your student to get involved. And lastly, just getting your student to attend every single day. I know it sounds basic, but if you look at the difference it makes, it's pretty astounding. Grades aren't everything, but here we have a breakdown of how our 9th graders do when they attend 95% of the time. So this is a chart or a graph with, on the right-hand side, you'll see students with A's and B's, and you can see that if students come to school, they tend to do really well. We can connect with them and we can teach them the skills they need to be successful. On the flip side, if a student misses just 2 days a month, things can change pretty drastically. In 2 days, that's pretty easy to do. You can see those grades that were mostly A's and B's have now shifted to contain quite a few F's. And so we really want to encourage you to share that message at home and help your students see the importance of being in class every single day. We also know parents are working super hard. As a parent myself, I know it's been a big challenge. So we want to encourage you to reach out for more support. If your student is struggling in any way, here's a list of all of the different counselors, and I'll show you in a moment how to figure out who your student's counselor is. Or you can simply call the main counseling office at 488-6064. We also have the deans, Daryl Solomon and Nick Holly, and they are just fantastic and would love to be a part of your students' high school experience and be there to support them as well. And we have an amazing team of family liaisons and McKinney Bento supports, most of whom are Spanish speakers and are really great helps that you may hear from as well. If you are trying to figure out who your student's counselor is, we don't go by alphabetically by last name here, we go by pathway, but it's pretty simple. If you log into ParentView and click on student info, you will see your student's counselor, whether you're on your phone or on the computer. The nice thing about the computer is you can just click on that hyperlink and email the counselor very quickly that way. If your student is experiencing some more or needing some more ongoing mental health support, we've got some resources to share here as well. If they are in crisis at home, please know that you should contact the Crisis Center at 970-494-4200. That's on Riverside Avenue in Fort Collins, and they can help you figure out the next steps for you. For more ongoing mental health support, please contact us in the counseling office. We can also help you connect with providers in the community through Kayak, which is our partnership with the health district, which has been an amazing resource. If you're concerned for another student, the Safe to Tell program is really amazing. So if you go to the safetotell.org website, use the Safe to Tell app, or use the phone number listed here, you can just share your concerns about another student, and that triggers a response both from the school and from first responders in the community. So it's a great way to make sure that our students are safe and cared for. We also know students need to eat and be well fed if they're going to do well in school. So just a reminder that breakfast and lunch are both free for all PSD students right now, so encourage your students to take advantage of that. If you're needing any additional food supports at home, We have fresh food pickups here the first Thursday of every month from 5 to 6:30. You can just show up. And you can also get in touch with your counselor to be put on the list for Feed Our Families when our students raise and distribute tons of food and other resources to our community members. If you're needing help with IT support or internet access, techportal.psdschools.org is a great resource. Or again, contact your counselor and we will help figure this out with you. Similarly, we know there's a whole bunch of other things that families may be needing right now. The district has a great website of family resources, but again, when in doubt, call or email us and we'll be there to help you. Thank you.
All right, so we are getting close to wrapping it up, and we just want to share with you that the big takeaways for your students' success while they're here at Pooter is that they, number one, show up, that they engage in not just their classes, but really the full school community, and that they connect. We want them connecting to peers, to adults, and to their interests. And so those are the big threes that we really want you to reinforce with your students at home. We have about 5 minutes, and so we are wanting to open up some two-way communication. And so if you have any questions, just about anything, you're welcome to go ahead and put it in the chat bar. And we've got some folks here who are going to share with me what questions pop up, and I can do my best to answer them. It looks like we have one question about how did students choose their pathway. And so when students were 8th graders, in the spring, they did a pathway selection form where they chose their 2 top pathways. And we tried to give them their number 1, but we definitely gave them one of 2 of those top pathways. Even though they're in, let's say, an agriculture and environment pathway, they still have the opportunity to take classes outside of that. So they can still take art and woodworking and all of those types of classes. But this is really something that we have kids just identify what they're really interested in or what they're really curious about so that they can go deeper within that subject area. Do we have any other questions?
Activities during lunch throughout the school year.
Yep, so the next question is, do we have activities during lunch throughout the school year? And we are definitely trying to make that happen. Like Ms. Wilson and Mr. Miltenberg said, we currently have, spike ball set up in the courtyard along with soccer and football and volleyball. We've got the 4-square spike ball set up in the front lawn, and the Gaga ball pit set out as well on that front plaza area. And so what we're hoping is when the weather gets a little bit chillier that we still might be able to provide some of those opportunities in the big gym and in the small gym. Right now we've got some basketball going on in the small gym, and in the big gym we're hoping to put out a couple of Gaga ball areas for kids to play Gaga ball during the winter and fall months. I think we have some questions about athletics, so I'm going to invite Ms. Christensen up.
The question is about when we're going to hire a new baseball coach, and I will be sending out an email with an update on Friday to all of our baseball parents. So I will have the information and timeline of what how we're going to proceed with that.
All right, I also see there's a question around COVID rates and what we're doing to try and stop the spread of COVID. And, it is tough. We've got 2,000 kids in this building. We are daily enforcing wearing masks in the building. You'll see adults throughout the hallways constantly saying, pull up your mask, so that we make sure that kids are wearing them appropriately. We are following all the Larimer County guidelines around, trying to keep kids at least 3 feet apart within classrooms. It's not possible in all classrooms, just given the size of some of the classrooms and how many kids might be in a class, but we're doing our best there. And then we're following the guidelines around quarantines. So when the Larimer County tells us it's a high-risk activity and it's something that we may need to quarantine, we do quarantine based off of that guidance.
There's a question about when do winter sports start? So the first official day of winter sports is November 15th. A lot of the teams are doing preseason things right now for their winter sport. So if you have any questions, you're unsure maybe who the coach is or who to contact, please just email me, Carrie Christensen, that's carriec@psdschools.org, and I will be happy to get you that information. But the first official start date is November 15th.
Looks like we have another question around PSD and guidance around quarantines and exposures. And so I'll just give you what I know, what we do. What we're told is that because our vaccination rate is above 70% in Larimer County, we do notify parents of a possible exposure if it's in a classroom setting. We don't quarantine full classrooms or close contacts within those settings because it is considered a routine classroom setting, and linked with that idea that we have 70% or higher in terms of vaccination rates. That is what they're telling us that we need to do, is that we need to notify a possible exposure and then have parents make sure that they're monitoring symptoms at home.
So the question was, in the newsletter, it stated that PSAT registration for juniors opens up on Labor Day. And what I wanted all parents to know is that every student enrolled at Poudre High School is automatically enrolled in a College Board exam. Those take place in April. Freshmen take the PSAT 9, sophomores take the PSAT 10, and juniors take the SAT. It's free, and there's no action needed on the student's part, and we'll be sending out more information in our future newsletters.
All right, we also had a couple questions about lunch and if students eat lunch together, and we do have a common lunch, and so students do eat lunch at the same time, but it's an open campus, so we encourage most of our students to go sit outside. We have tons of great outdoor spaces, and then we, have a number of students who leave campus, especially those who are juniors and seniors, and so while we do have a common lunch that all students eat during that time, they are not all within one certain area because they do spread out and kind of go their own separate ways. And then we had a question, about late start. And I think the way it was asked was, students being penalized that have to ride the bus to come into school. And I guess I don't view it that way. I think it's a great opportunity for students to come in and get homework done. Our media center is open, our cafeteria is open so they can get breakfast. So it is kind of like an off period that some of our upperclassmen have, and most of our students would use that off period as time to get caught up on homework. And so while we don't provide later start transportation on those Wednesdays, we do provide those opportunities for students to use our resources in the media center, and like I said, in the cafeteria. One moment.
It's recorded, where can they come from?
And put it on the site as soon as.
All right. We also had questions about how can we access this recording. And so we will provide access to this recording on our website. Once it processes, you can just come back and check that website. We'll also just post our slides so that if you don't want to listen to the 30 minutes of us talking, you're welcome to just access those slides. Another question around COVID and quarantine. I was expecting I would have a number of questions around COVID. One question is around how do students access homework if they are quarantined? And students can still access their homework through Google Classroom. Every single one of our teachers uses Google Classroom. And so that's a way that a teacher posts assignments. That's the way that they post notes. And so the best thing for a student to do is email their teacher and ask, what's on the agenda for that day, and a teacher can help connect that student through Google Classroom. All right, we've got a question for counseling. I'm going to have Mr. Miltenberg step back up.
Hello again. Question was just around if there's a senior checklist. And right now, all seniors should be scheduling a one-on-one meeting with their counselors to do a senior meeting to go over all different requirements that they need to meet in order to graduate, and to go over all the other important details of senior year as well. So encourage your students to reach out to their counselor to schedule that meeting in the next few weeks, and they should get all the information they need there. Thank you.
All right, just a couple more questions about how do you access work if you're quarantined. And again, students, best bet is for them to email their teachers, and the teachers can provide that homework through Google Classroom. Last year we did recording of classes, and that was really difficult for all parties involved, students who were trying to learn remotely at home, and then teachers who were trying to teach in different settings. And so teachers are not broadcasting their classes now, and instead students can access all of that work through Google Classroom. And I'll see if there are any more questions, and if not, it is about 6:05, so teachers have uploaded their videos. So again, we are wanting to invite you to go visit your students' classes virtually by going onto that Poudre High School website, going to the staff directory, go through each one of your students' classes, visit the teachers' learning pages and their videos, and hopefully that answers all of your questions. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we are hopeful for an awesome 2021-2022 school year. Go Impalas.